Hey guys, and welcome to episode 0 of a brand new series on my channel. So, many years ago when I started playing Black Desert, I wanted to be the best at something. And if not the best, someone that could be considered among the best. However, after the last 3.5 years, it has become painfully obvious that that thing is not going to be grinding. I do not have the patience to kill the same monster over and over again for hours on end, without variation, that is required in order to get super high levels like 64, 65, or just to grind for days on end in general. So with grinding out of the picture, and thus combat, I turned to life skills. Now, luckily, life skills in Black Desert are pretty awesome. There's a lot of them, they're a lot of fun, there's a pretty huge variation between each life skill, with a few couple of exceptions, and best of all, they make you a ton of silver, and there's a ranking system, which means that on any given server, the top 30 had their names displayed for each life skill on that server. In addition to that, the top 5 get a nice little laurel over their head, which means that everyone on the server can tell that those 5 players are the best 5 players on the server in that life skill. So, naturally, I am going to aim for a laurel, because being among top 5 on a server pretty much guarantees you're among the best on that server. Now, of course, I am going to disqualify the Alvia server for obvious reasons, because it's way too easy to get a laurel there. Just stop playing for 3 months, come back, and I'm in 1st to 5th place for a variety of skills. So it is going to be on my home server of Comma 4, just to avoid me tampering with it or trying to find a server where I have a laurel. So of course, having set myself a goal, now I need to set myself a life skill. So obviously, gathering is out, because gathering has the same problem as grinding does. While I do love gathering way more than I love grinding, in fact, I've done a lot of gathering, I don't really have the patience to go to the bear or herb rotation and just grind herbs for hours on end until I'm Master 25, or whatever gathering rank I need. I believe on my server's Master 16, to have a laurel. It's also not a very interesting thing to watch. Like, the entire series would just be day 1 through 7 of me at the bear herb rotation, gathering herbs. So gathering was out, as were a bunch of other life skills such as fishing, where the minimum level for the top 30 on my server is actually Guru 11. Fishing, processing, and every other skill like that. Looking through the remaining skills, I made my decision, and that is Alchemy. Alchemy is an interesting life skill. There are so many items in the game that your pets will just randomly bring to you, and you'll open your inventory and go, "What's that?" And you'll mouse over it and it says, "This can be used in Alchemy." And you'll never see that item again, but it's used in Alchemy, and it's used in various potions, elixirs, or drafts. There's a ton of different stuff you can do with Alchemy. You can make potions and elixirs, you can create alchemy stones. It's a life skill with a lot of depth, and it's also a life skill that has a decent amount of people. It's not like hunting, where being about Artisan 10 can actually get you a laurel on most servers. Alchemy is something where you will need a decent amount of practice and effort put in if you want to get a laurel. So Alchemy was the skill I chose. However, after a bit of thought, I realized that getting a laurel is a bit of a nebulous goal, because getting a laurel depends heavily on who's online at the time, what server you're on, as well as what the minimum requirement is at the time for a laurel. Depending on the time of day, who's online, which people have server changed recently to try and sell stuff for Imperials or just to help out with guild stuff, the requirement for Alchemy can vary anywhere between low to mid-master. And so I realized that I need to set a bit more of a concrete goal. I can still go for a laurel on my home server, but I also need a more concrete goal. And so I decided that while I was going on this Alchemy adventure, I want to master Alchemy, at least to the standards of Black Desert, which means not only am I going to get a laurel and master Alchemy, I am going to become a Guru Alchemist. So from beginner to Guru, that is the brand new series. Now, in the process of this series, I am going to be doing a lot of work. There's a lot of research that needs to be done. I have already done a lot of math, and I'm going to have to gather all the things. Like, you do not even realize how many millions of various herbs, bloods, saps, and water that are going to be required in order for me to get to Guru Alchemy on Kistri here, my beginner 10 archer. Beginner 10 Alchemy archer. He's actually level 61, but that's really kind of unimportant for this series. So, while I was thinking about that, I decided that while I'm not going to make him a full Iron Man, I am going to do my best to gather as many of the items, as well as make as many of the items, as I'm going to need while performing this task. While I am engaged in this quest, this task, this challenge, whatever you want to call it, I am going to do my best to acquire all the items myself. That means the bloods, the weeds, the rough stones, and logs that I'm going to need for alchemy utensils, because I'm starting this video less than a week after the nerfed Imperial Delivery, and there are no utensils left in the marketplace, which means I have to go gather and set up a workshop to make all these utensils, these thousands of utensils I'm going to need, myself. But that's part of what makes this video fun. It's part of what makes this series a lot of fun, and hopefully you guys get to enjoy as I bang my head against the wall of gathering and alchemy in Black Desert over the next couple months as I go for Guru. So, here's Kistsphere. I'm just going to quickly prove that as of the time of this video, so level 61, 4.736% combat experience, and beginner 10 alchemy. 33,000 experience to be exact, I think it's 33,800. And that is going to reach about 1.5 billion experience by the time I hit Guru. So, settle in, enjoy the ride, and yeah, hopefully this is a fun series for me, for you, and as always guys, have a good one.